I look cute. I don't know why it is so awkward to get on here and look at myself talk, but here I am. And I know it's been a while. I have had some very fortunate and very unfortunate events happen in my life. And I don't even know how to approach this. No, I'm gonna keep recording, F it. Sorry if you hear any noise like that, like the knocking. I have very, 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 very strange neighbors. And yeah, but besides that, we're gonna keep going. I'm not gonna be discouraged. And we're just gonna keep going, all right? So I do have some notes that I took. I took notes to help me stay on track because what I'm experiencing, I've never experienced before. And I just need to get this out. I'm gonna do probably like a 5-video kind of series. And let's get into it. So today we're gonna be talking about death and how to understand death without fear. So as the title of this video, as you can see, it is Death is Not the End, it is a shift in frequency. So basically most people don't really fear death. They fear that change in identity, the controlling what they can't, or the loss of something they can't control, and that shift in reality. I don't fucking want to do this off the fucking script. I hate this stupid shit. Yeah, I just totally spaced out. I might leave that in there. That was funny. Yeah, so I did write a lot of my thoughts out because I was going to try to like read my thoughts, but it feels so weird. It feels like I'm reading a script literally. So I'm probably not gonna do that. But what I am gonna do, just to try it out, just for even right now, is look at what I wrote and then just elaborate from there. Because if I wrote it once, then I can say it again, right? So I need some type of flow other than, yeah, I'm not waiting, and I don't want to do this tomorrow or the next day or the day after that, because I know there are people waiting on my videos. They've already reached out and told me. So I'm going to just kind of reference my notepad and then elaborate from there. Okay. So yeah, like what I was saying was that like most people don't fear death. They kind of fear that whole like the loss of control, loss of identity. They aren't really familiar with who they are anymore. They aren't familiar with the new reality that they're in, and they aren't really sure of that process or how it goes or how it works. And also, if I'm not looking at the camera, it's because I'm just not used to it yet, so bear with me if you don't mind. So I do have 3 points for this video, and let's start with point number 1. Death is just a door, a transition of consciousness, not a punishment. You don't die, you relocate. Energy can't be destroyed, it just changes form. And just to elaborate on that, basically in that experience, which I've just recently experienced, not for the first time, but it's been the first time kind of like more personally, and like beyond close to home, like the closest you can get to home, if you know what I mean, without me being too specific, or I really don't want to like cry on here. But yeah, so basically I know that it seems like it could be a punishment, or that it's like some bad thing that happens to you, but honestly it's just like a transfer of energy. Like the best way to describe it is my loved one passed a few days before my graduation, and like we buried him the day after my graduation, and they came to see me as a white dove like the night before, which I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna add that in the video as a I don't know I don't know, but I'm gonna put the picture somewhere on the screen so you can see it, because it's really cool. Like it's actually a really good example of what I just said, how death is, you know, basically just changing forms. It's just shifting from one form to another, because again, energy doesn't die, and it is just this game that we play in the universe. And instead of being like on Mancala, or well, you know, I don't know how to really explain it, but I do, but like for the game reference, it's more of like jumping from one game to the next game. right? It's jumping from like Mortal Kombat to Mancala, or that's how I see it. I don't know about anybody else, but and the spiritual community might get on me for that, but that's just the way that I see it. So for point 2, what dies is the illusion. The stories, the attachments, the timelines, they dissolve, but the observer, the core awareness remains. It always has and it always will. So self-explanatory once again for me, and I have to remember that before I say that, because I know that this whole point of me doing this video is so that if there is anyone out there dealing with this, for me, it's my like first time death. Like I said, it's not my it's not the first time, but it's the first time it's hit extremely home to where I'm literally feel so led in a sense to do something like this and to just kind of explore the different points that I know I'm going to go through and experience, points that people have probably already done. Not probably, I know they have for sure. And for people who have not experienced it just yet. So, you know, you can save the video. Of course, take notes always, no matter what you do. Remember, it's either a loss or a lesson. And just make sure that you kind of adhere to the why. And even if someone doesn't give you a why, you can assess that why yourself, because you can basically extrapolate it down to yourself. Why am I watching this? Why did I come across this video? Why was this video recommended for me? How is the universe or my ancestors or God or spirit or whoever you want to call it, whatever you want to call it, how are they trying to communicate with me right now? Am I in alignment? Is this a synchronicity? Blase, blase, XYZ. So like I said, for basic following the line of point 2 is what is illusion, what dies is the illusion. And again, what dies is not the actuality of what was, because you still have all the memories, you know, you still have all the time that you spent, you still have all the accomplishments, the goals, the family trips, the pictures, all that kind of stuff. And those are just things that are materialized based off of the connection that you had with this person and the intermingling and the collaboration on life that y'all have together, right? So it's not like anything else left besides their physical vessel, and we already know that. That's the one guarantee that we have. Not to say that it's not painful, not to say that it's not something to be, you know, to be moved by or feel very deeply, but I believe that the more you study and the more that you are on this journey of self-mastery, you'll understand that just how much weight your emotions and your feelings hold. And I know this to be true, and I used to fight, and I say used to very loosely because this is like even just a week ago, fight with the idea that like, okay, like I'm grieving wrong or I'm not doing something, you know, but I'm not the type of person that just like, I'm not to say that I'm not emotional or that I'm not a crybaby or something like that. No, I definitely cry when I can cry, you know, when I need to, but especially given the circumstances, I don't think it's helpful for me to cry. Not only to my manifestations, but to the people around me. It doesn't make sense for me to get into a mode where I'm not able to assist them or best serve them as best as I can. And I know that also it could be said that it's not my job or it's not my responsibility, but that honestly doesn't matter to me because I know I can say no at any time. And these people this is my family, this is my mom, my siblings, you know, my aunt, my uncles, this is my family. So of course I'm going to check on them when I know that everybody else. Thank you again for your support for the memorial that was said for all 300 plus people that attended the funeral, his funeral. But through and through, I know that these people have their own lives to lead, that they're going to go off and live their own lives and continue on with their lives as they should, right? I don't expect the world to stop for him. But one thing that I do appreciate out of myself is that I have the ability to show up how I can, even though the world doesn't always necessarily deserve it, or people don't necessarily deserve it, right? And for whoever's watching this, clearly you need to see this. Clearly there's something in here that may be for you. And if there isn't, I mean, then why are you watching the video, right? But otherwise, if you're here, then there is something in here for you. So I believe that, you know, you may be that type of person that is kind of having like an internal conflict, like, okay, yeah, like I know that they're not here physically, but I still feel some type of way, even though I am very well aware of how emotions work. I know that, you know, emotion is the language of God. I know that, you know, the universe, me being in direct correlation and communication with the universe is how I will bring in my manifestation. So how do I respond to something like this when, you know, there are times you want to scream and yell and da 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 da, or there are times where you want to sit in a group and kind of group sulk. I believe that you have to make up your mind. I believe that you have to make a decision to either do it or don't. And I say that confidently, which again, I've recorded 2 or 3 videos doing the same thing, expressing myself like this, but I did not want to, I couldn't comfortably post them because I wasn't being my authentic self. And my authentic self is literally like me showing up as my authentic self. He would not have wanted, actually, no, he didn't operate like that. Like, my loved one did not operate on the frequency of victimhood. He did not operate on the frequency of collectively mourning. You know, it wasn't like that. I didn't grow up seeing anything like that. So that's probably why I am the way I am as well, which again is why I feel an intense, I felt it in November when I lost my grandfather, when my grandfather passed, which is, if you go back, you'll see that that's probably around the time I posted my first video, because that was really, I wanted to start in January. I chickened out, came back around, I want to say March, and like I have videos in my phone that I just never posted because I was just being a little chicken. I was being a little scaredy cat for whatever reason. I don't know. Probably all the lowly people that have tried to condition me to be a certain way, but that's besides the point. Yeah, I'm sweating right now. Look, I'm sweating. I'm sweating. It's not the sun. I'm quite literally like, I'm not nervous. I'm just like, I've never done this before. Like, yeah, I've done it a few videos ago, but I've never done this over death. I've never done this talking about someone that I love more than I love a lot. Okay, I love them a lot. I love them. I don't care about really anything else. I care about serving people and serving, you know, my family, serving God, and serving myself. And I know it seems like, well, if you say it like that, well, then, you know, you have love for people, but it's not the same type of love. It's not the same type of space that I hold, right? Because I know that it wouldn't be the same for you. Whoever's watching this, yeah, you're gonna take your nuggets, and you better take your nuggets and go add them to your life so that you can make your life better for yourself and your family. But I know that that is not for me, so I'm not even expecting that in return. So I know, like I said, I have that love for him, and this is why I feel like I am. Not only did I feel like that was just a ramble, because again, I need to give myself a little grace too, because again, I keep saying this, I've never dealt with this, and I'm rambling, and I'm, you know, also showing up as authentic as possible. I know that there is a certain way that I want to present myself, and not to say like I want to be perfect. Like, I'm literally in my PJs. Like, my hair has a little curl to it. I barely have any makeup on. I did this intentionally so that I didn't take too long to basically talk myself out of it. And what else happened? There's a lot, right? Life happens, and that's why it's another reason to reinforce the fact that the illusion is gone, but the energy is not, because the illusions for all the other things are still here, right? Once, you know, certain things happen in other areas of your life, then therefore it's gone. It's not there anymore. So how do you respond when something or someone leaves your life, but it's still on the earth, right? It's still on the planet. And I know people who think that, oh, like you should respond differently because, oh, one's on earth, one's on, but there's no different way to respond. There's one way to respond, and it's the way that you think that is best, right? Because the situation that you are experiencing may be different from what I'm experiencing. And although I am talking about death overall, I know that I have a unique, you know, standpoint in life, or point of view in life, and that's simply because we're all made differently. But to express it at this time, in this way, how I'm feeling on the subject, somebody out there needs to hear this. You know, somebody out there needs to see me say these things or do these things or just show up, right? And I'm not sure if there's somebody on the other end of this video that I know. You know, if I do know you, hi. It would be kind of strange. It is kind of strange, the concept, the idea that you could be watching me, but at the same time, in the order of which I would like to access or to reach people, of course I would like it to be the people that I know first. And that's simply just because I know them. And then anyone else, if you are reached by this, I mean, that's even better. But I am a firm believer that it starts within your own community, right? It starts within your own environment, within your own, whatever it is that starts, right? Because I've heard a lot like, oh, your environment matters, or your environment is what determines how you're gonna be. And I know that there are people who can be born in one environment, terrible environment, shitty environment with a very ill illusion, and then go and create manifest a whole nother illusion for themselves or reality for themselves, to the point where they are then propelled into another version of themselves, right? Like, it doesn't have to be one way, or, you know, you don't have to get information from one person. And yeah, I appreciate myself for being able to do this, especially at a time like this, because I know what I'm capable of. And although I'm having more difficulty with actually showing up on camera than I am talking about the subject, because again, my loved one knew me very well, and if anything was one of the only people to really understand me, because this world is a very interesting world, and we went through some similar things, and life was not necessarily fair to us, but life's not fair, and we knew that very well as well. But we also knew and know not to go and shit on other people's lives and other people's parades, because bad things happen to us. And that's another reason I'm showing up so confidently, because I know that I am making him very proud. Not only was he proud before he left, but I know he's even more proud now, because you go, girl. You know, you aren't succumbing to your emotions. You aren't throwing yourself a pity party. You aren't becoming a victim. You aren't looking for a handout. You aren't, you know, mad at the world, mad at God, mad at anyone for anything that they've done to you, because you aren't taking it personal. And you aren't mad at me, and I'm not mad at you. And he knows that I'm not mad at him. I know that this is just a temporary separation. And honestly, we're not even separate. We're more connected than we probably ever were, or ever could be in the flesh. But I am incredibly honored to be able to not only speak on him and share his legacy, which I'll be more specific probably later, what I feel led to do, but yeah, he's such a magnificent person. And so I don't know how much I got. Let's ignore it for now, though. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Let's keep going. Okay, so like I was saying, the stories, the attachments, the connection, all that stuff, that is what dissolves. That is the illusion. But the actual memory, the actual experiences, and all that kind of stuff, and even that is, you're keeping that alive by having, again, your mind remembering, putting yourself back in that timeline. That's why, time being linear, it's like you're able to go there at any point. That's why time is not real. But at the same time, if someone ceases to exist within this time frame that we conceptualized, right? Yeah. If someone is no longer in this realm, then we can't gauge it. So, they've died, when in reality they've just transitioned or moved on, or whatever the case is. So point number 3, grief is just love with no place to land. Some people don't experience grief with certain people. Then again, they can also experience it heavily with others. That's because when someone dies, we are not grieving them. We're grieving the version of us that existed in their presence. Yeah, we're grieving that version of us that was able to not only love on that person, but receive the love that that person has to give. You have to realize grief being love with no place to put it, no place to land, in comparison to losing people that you had no connection to, and what connection would that be would be love, right? Think about the people that have passed near to you that weren't dear to you. I say that to say that it is a good way to gauge if this concept that I'm explaining, because it is like all things, learning experience, but it's an experience that can give you a lot of information about the relationship that you and that person had. And again, for me, there have been plenty of passing around me, like even my grandfather who passed in November. It is not the same as losing the person that I lost a few weeks ago. It's just not the same. The love wasn't there in the same way. So it's not hitting me the same way. It still led me to want to talk about it and express myself, but not even to the degree to get me past whatever threshold I needed to get past, to get me to show my sweaty armpits online, to get me to show up in my pajamas, to get me to show up with no makeup on, to get me to show up exactly how I didn't plan on showing up, right? Because it's not even necessarily about the how. I don't know the how regardless. I would never know the how, neither will you. You won't know the how, or 9 times out of 10, you won't know the why. I mean, yeah, you will have your why for the personal things, but I don't know why my loved one passed. I just know that it's the only guarantee there is on earth, and I know how to navigate everything else besides what's going on when whenever he's gone and going wherever, right? Going into the universe or wherever else. So I know I say this a lot to the extent that it's self-explanatory, but I know that it's not self-explanatory if you aren't looking at it a certain way, or if you aren't looking at the different perspectives, if you aren't able to give yourself a different perspective, or have other people around you that are able to give you the different perspectives. But I think that is why, I know that is why I'm feeling so led to show up in this way, because again, that's the name of my channel. It's called New Perspective for a reason. My name is called New Day for a reason. It is pun intended, that's the point, is to have the more perspective you gain on even just a single subject or a single topic or a single experience, is the more information that you have, and the more equipped you will be with knowledge, or again, information, or whatever the case is. And when it comes to something like this, I feel like the more that I'm studying and the more that I'm learning about death, it is easing that pain point that you feel, that I know that people who have experienced this before have felt, and that I personally felt. But also it provides me with a better understanding about just life in general. Like, again, I've never dealt with something like this, but now I can see, even though before, I would have it's not the same perspective, but it's like, oh, maybe they're having a bad day, or maybe they're having somebody must have just could have broke up with their partner, or they could have got a bad grade, or they may not have their car, maybe their car's in the shop, or maybe they're having a bad hair day, or maybe they're having all these different things. But now added to the list of perspectives is maybe their loved one passed, maybe they just left a funeral, maybe they had to graduate the day before they had to bury someone extremely close to them, or blase. And I like the idea of me being able to show up in spite of, because he did that so well. And I know that I learned so much from him because I'm clearly doing it. And it's like, I've had people ask me, even based off of a lot of the other things that I've been through, that I probably mentioned before, that I'll probably mention again, because it is a science, it is a technique, it is something that I learned very, very early on, and I did not realize was something that, a lot of people need and a lot of people want. And I like it. I am happy that I am able to possess those type of characteristics, because again, that's what was exemplified to me, and that is a huge spider. Oh my God, he would come kill this spider for me. Oh my God, it's so huge. Okay, now that's a huge spider. Oh my God. I am paralyzed with fear. What do I do? Hold on.
Oh, now when I try to get you on camera, you want to run. Don't run. What are you doing? Y'all, I thought it was on the inside.
Okay, so no, I did not go get that spider. I'm actually not gonna kill it because, so basically it's between a screen and my door. And in order to kill it, I would have to open the door, so my protection, and expose me and my home to the spider. And I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. It's a setup. Cause watch this another one. I got full body chills. Y'all see that? That's a sign. You see them chills? That's a sign. God's telling me not to open it. I peeped your plan. Period. Okay, now let me get back to it. No, but for real, like, okay. Again, like I said, I said this at the funeral and I said this at the memorial. I am not him. But the lessons that I did learn were to show up in the world in spite of how I'm feeling, in spite of what's been done to me, in spite of the circumstances that I've experienced, because, you know, that, I'm not gonna lie, it's not, again, can't take it personally, but I know what the upstairs, like above me, is doing. I know what that is for sure. Again, that's where intuition, using your discernment comes in. But thank God I don't have to experience that for much longer. And that's, you know, the smallest on the list of things that you have to experience, or problems that someone may have, which I don't really claim any problems, but if it were a problem, it would be on the bottom of the list. So showing up in the world, and, you know, regardless, in spite of, you know, a good example that I can give of that is, you know, doing even something like this. I know what my heart feels led to do, right? I know what my purpose is. I know exactly what I'm supposed to put on here on earth to do. It's just showing up and doing that has been a very interesting process, because I can feel myself having to melt away the solidified version of me that was kind of formed not only to protect myself, but also with a mix of, oh yeah, I agree with you, like people calling me ugly, or being called fat, or being called a misfit, or people telling me every day that it looks like I got ran over by a car, or that just a bunch of stuff, right? And being so, this is from children to adults, being so unkind and so deliberately demeaning and disrespectful. I know that I have every reason to have my villain origin story. I have every reason to show up in the world, especially losing who I just lost. But I'm not gonna do that, because again, he did not teach me to do that. It's not even natural for me. I would have to actually try to be more a different way than the way I am now, right? And I understand that the only reason those people treated me that way, the only reason those people treated him that way, the only reason those people showed up in the world in such a negative manner is because that they were treated that way, or that's the viewpoint that they were given, or that's the only POV, point of view, perspective that they were allowed. Their minds aren't big enough to see from a broader perspective. So why on earth would I be so mad at such a small-minded man? That's just an observation. I'm not gonna be mad at someone whose brain or whose capacity is the size of this. Not that someone's brain, I don't know. I don't know what the brain looks like. But I'm going to be kind, continue to be kind. But I know that, you know, people only have certain capacity, and that's just real. I'm gonna be straight up. I'm used to doing that, correcting myself where there's no correction needed. There's no correction needed. If your brain is small, if it's a small capacity, it's a small capacity. Broaden it. Come to my channel and broaden your perspective. Gain a new perspective. That's the point, right? And I said that because, again, grief is just love misplaced. And the love that I have for my loved one is not misplaced. And although there are times where it does get misplaced and I'm like very, very sad, I also know that crying is just letting go of beliefs that no longer serve you. That is our body's way of exuding all the pain or the sorrow that you're feeling. One takeaway that I can give you for this video is that when you are feeling your grief, which is basically just your love misplaced, imagine your grief as like a ball of light, right? Quite literally imagine it as a ball of light. And whenever you start to feel that pain for that loved one, hold it. Hold it in your hand, and place what you're considering grief, rename it, and give it its original name, and call it love, call it what it is, and let that love touch something that you're doing throughout the day, right? So my loved one loved to cook. Whenever I go in the kitchen and I'm thinking about my loved one and how they loved to cook, I am going to place that love with my food, right? I'm going to place, if I'm journaling, I'm going to place the love with my writing, or I'm going to place the love if I'm doing my hair with my hair, or something that I'm doing, right? Just like symbolically how the sun lit up while I was explaining that, let it light up your life. Let that grief, which is just love, reworded or misspelled or however you want to consider it, let it be the new definition. Let that be the definition, so you don't drown out their memory with, oh my God, boo-hoo, oh my God, they're not here in the flesh, so I can have my, selfish, whatever experience that you had with this person, whatever you missed them for. They're transitioned. Let them transition. They miss you, they love you very much, and they understand what you're experiencing, but what they won't understand is why you would choose to continue to experience it, not only after you've seen a video like this, but after you go throughout life and you learn and you know different things and you're susceptible to certain things. Because not only is death not the end, death is an upgrade. We've just got another version, because we're all connected, we're all a part of the all. We just got another one of us not limited by the flesh. What? We just got powered up. We literally just got powered up. So in a lot of ways, I don't want to make the video too long. I almost forgot I was recording. Just know, what was I finna say? Oh, I know that death in a lot of ways can be very disappointing, but it's the most constant disappointment you will ever experience, right? It's not the same as, it's not the same as a breakup. It's not the same as dropping food. It's not the same as anything on earth. There's nothing that compares to death. There's no feeling on this planet that I've ever felt than death. Other than me, when I say I've experienced grief, in a sense, grieving a version of myself that I never got to meet because she died at 1. That's the only comparison that I have. And I've never felt that before. And I know that if I continue to love people and to have loved ones in my life, that I'll feel it after, right? So it's not a one and done kind of thing. Apologies if you can hear them knocking and stuff there, but that's besides the point. Just know that you are capable and you are loved, and it is okay to feel, and it is necessary. Don't try to avoid loving people so that you don't feel grief, because remember, grief is just love misplaced. Grief is just love with no place to land. If you have a loved one that you want to talk about or express how you're dealing with that in the comments, feel free to. This is my first video back in like a long time, but I'm not gonna take that long of a break anymore. because this is going to be somewhat of a series. I'm still debating if I'm going to do this like 5 days in a row. Well, I'm going to record it 5 days in a row, but I don't know if I'm going to post it 5 days in a row. So I don't know that yet, but I guess we'll see. Until next time.